In a few days' time, Treasury Minister Eddie Teare will be unveiling his budget for the forthcoming year. And with Steve McGowan, Chairman of SNP Partners, what do you expect, or what would you like to see from this budget?
I think what we expect is probably in line with probably the last 1 or 2 years in terms of the Minister working hard at balancing the books. I think this is a common theme, and it's clearly something that we need to happen. What I'd like to see from the budget and generally from the government is just stability. I think over the last 1 or 2 years, there's a lot of action and developments, consultations, changes internally, whilst at the same time, as an island, as an economy, we're under pressure and spotlight. And I think now more than ever, we need stability. We need the government working together with the private sector, focusing on what our strengths are, what our core strengths are, what our skill sets are, and look to stabilise what we have and deal with the attention and the spotlight that we come under.
And you say we need that stability. We're still unsure where we are with VAT, aren't we? We're still expecting more to come from that.
Yeah, I guess it's an unknown. I certainly am not aware of any future changes, but there's lots of speculation that the UK government are looking at it. And if we are hit with a further reduction or a change in the VAT arrangement that we have with the UK, then it needs us to take a look at it. I think we're probably coming close to what is the tipping point, i.e. the money that we get under the common purse agreement with the UK, compared to if we had no agreement with the UK and we had our own version of VAT or sales tax. So it depends what the UK do in the future, but I'd imagine it's coming to that tipping point.
And what's your take on, we've had recently the speculation that high net worth individuals are now leaving the Isle of Man. It has to do with the £120,000 tax cap, that perhaps isn't working the way the government would like it to do. What's your opinion on that?
Well, it's a tricky one. I think the government, they made the change last year to have a 5-year election. Personally, I didn't think it was necessary. I think the existing arrangement and the rules were good and were attractive. I think by changing it has put some people off, and it looks like that's happened. The government said that they wanted to make these changes because people wanted certainty, but they've also said that they felt the previous arrangements were open to abuse. I would say, well, if people were abusing it, they could have just dealt with those people and leave the arrangement as it was.
Go back to the annual arrangement.
I think it worked perfectly well, and it was extremely attractive for good and positive reasons, and the island benefits from these people coming to the island. So why tamper with something which is working pretty well?
And in terms of making the Isle of Man as attractive a jurisdiction as possible, we've had the recent comments from Ed Miliband about tax avoidance and what he wants to see happen there. What do you think about that?
Well, it's on one hand, it's very annoying that the comments the politicians make, often it's in line with elections, and we know obviously the UK election is this year, and party leaders will say almost anything to help with their campaigns. But with what Ed Miliband has said over the last weekend, clearly he's not correctly informed, because he talks about transparency and disclosures, etc. And the Isle of Man is leading the world in terms of transparency and disclosures. It's signed international government agreements with the UK. It's signed up to the Common Standard Reporting. It's signed up to the UK's version of FATCA, and obviously it's signed the American version of FATCA. So everything that people accuse the Isle of Man of potentially doing and not being transparent and not disclosing is wrong, because it's actively happening now. So Ed Miliband probably needs to do a bit more research before he makes these statements.
Obviously, we've been through some very tough times and are still going through tough times. What's the general feeling in the business community?
Apprehension. I think everyone knows about the last 30 odd years in terms of keeping out of recession and the constant growth. However, I say apprehension because we are under the spotlight and being challenged in many different ways, regulations, etc. And we just need, as an island, to make sure that both the government and the private sector work together in unison to make sure that the island's economy stays strong. And there are some challenges being thrown at us at the moment, and I think stability is the key here. The island needs to understand its strengths, what it's good at, where our economy is strong, where the future is, and really work hard at protecting that. And I just have a small fear that we're not getting that balance right. And the last 5 or 6 years, we've kept out of recession when many other similar jurisdictions have gone into recession. And that is because we've been able to diversify our economy into e-commerce, which includes e-gaming and other online businesses. But without that, we would have been in a recession. So we need to protect that, but also continue to look at other revenue streams, other economies, and constantly look at diversifying what we have.